North Augusta, SC. TYU's Jones was a celebrity in Minnesota by the time that he was in 8th grade. Before he was even enrolled at Apple Valley High School, he was starting on the varsity team, calmly handing point guard responsibilities against kids 4 years his senior while playing in gyms so packed you couldn't get in the door if you showed up at tip-off. That wasn't just for high school games, either. Summer league, fall league, local AAU and EYBL events. If TYU's was playing, people were watching. For 5 years, he was to the Twin Cities what LaMelo Ball was to Las Vegas last week. For the state, he galvanized a huge interest in basketball, J.D. Jones, TYU's older half-brother, said. Before he was a junior in high school, if you typed Apple Valley into Google, it showed up Apple Valley, California. Now it shows up Apple Valley, Minnesota. TYU's never left his hometown high school, spending 5 years with the Eagles while winning a state title, getting named Mr. Basketball and becoming a McDonald's All-American as a senior. He enrolled at Duke where he won the 2015 national title and the NCAA Tournament's Most Outstanding Player award before becoming a one-and-done first-round pick by the local NBA team, the Minnesota Timberwolves. It was enough that the town of Apple Valley, a Twin Cities suburb with a population of roughly 50,000 people in little previous basketball history to speak of, turned April 22, 2015, into TYU's Jones Day, where he received a key to the city, threw out the first pitch at a Twins game and had his number retired at Apple Valley High after a parade through the town. For TYU's, that's quite a legacy to leave. For Trey, the youngest of the 3 Jones brothers, it only increased the burden of expectation that came with growing up in the shadow of a local legend. TYU's Jones, Getty Images. Perhaps the most striking fact about the success that TYU's and Trey have had is that it is not the direct result of winning the genetic lottery. Both brothers stand roughly 6'1". Neither crack 200 pounds. Trey is more athletic than TYU's, but neither of them will ever be confused with, say, Russell Westbrook or John Wall or peak Derrick Rose. From a basketball perspective, they are both very average when it comes to the kind of measurables that make NBA GMs salivate over potential. Enter J.D. Jones. A former Division I player himself, Jones played 2 years at Furman before transferring back to Division II Minnesota State Mankato. J.D. is as responsible for the basketball development of both of his little brothers as anyone. He graduated from Mankato in 2009 with a degree in health and exercise science and a dream of becoming a basketball trainer, making a career out of blending improvement of the physical traits with skill development. He's also 10 years older than TYU's and 14 years older than Trey, an awkward age gap that slots the elder somewhere between father figure and best friend. That, however, ended up being perfect for the 3, as JD has thrived in the role of coach. App photo. The Star Tribune, Kendall Harkness. Basketball is the lifeblood of the Joneses. Mom, Debbie, won a state title as a point guard in North Dakota and spent some time playing in the junior college ranks. TYU's and Trey's dad, Rob, played at Division III Wisconsin Parkside. Another half-brother, Reggie Bunch, played at Robert Morris University, while an aunt, Darcy Cascais, and an uncle, Al Nunes, were all conference players at North Dakota and Minnesota, respectively. All basketball, all the time, JD said. Gets to grandma a little bit. She wants to be able to talk about different things. JD returned to Apple Valley at the time that his family started to realize that one of their own, TYU's, had a chance to be something special. There was no better guinea pig for JD, and after TYU's had completed his first season on varsity as an 8th grader, the two began training as if TYU's and Trey were already professionals. The specific workouts have changed over the years as JD has learned more and the younger pair continued to improve, but the core philosophy has remained the same. Monday through Thursday, it was weights in the mornings and skill sessions in the afternoons as they prepared for whatever tournament or tryout TYU's had the upcoming weekend. If there were no trips on the weekend, the workouts continued. During the school year, schedules changed as the boys had class and team practices to attend, but the dedication didn't. It was not uncommon to see TYU's or Trey leaving the house before dawn to make it to a 5:30 a.m. workout. As time has passed, things have changed. After returning to Minnesota from Duke, TYU's now lifts in the morning at the Timberwolves facility. The Monday through Thursday schedule is tailored around Trey's summer travel. JD has turned working his brothers out into a successful business called Top Flight Basketball Academy, and those daily workouts now include a handful of other local high school, college and professional players. But that hasn't stopped the trio from finding some time almost every day to train. JD has sacrificed so much just trying to help me and Trey become the best basketball players we can be and achieve our goals and dreams, TYU's said. He's someone who is extremely smart, knows the game, studies the game, knows the body. I'm thankful to have an older brother like that in my corner. He's the toughest on me as a coach, added Trey. I know that's because he sees the potential in me and he wants me to be the best player I can be, and I want nothing less than that. Trey Jones, John Lopez Nikki TYU's was a sensation as an 8th grader when he was the starting point guard for Apple Valley's varsity team. We are playing every single game sold out. Most games were sold out at the JV game. JD, who has worked as Apple Valley's JV coach and an assistant for the varsity team, said. It was a circus at away games. Everywhere we went, the other team, that was the biggest crowd of the season. It was wild. I've never seen anything like that. At one of those games, a little kid was plucked out of the stands at halftime to compete in the kind of challenge that you see at halftime of every basketball game: make a layup, a free throw, a three-pointer and a half-court shot in 30 seconds. It seemed cruel. He was too small. That little kid proceeded to make the layup, then the free throw, then the three-pointer. By the time he knocked down the half-court shot, the crowd had erupted. That kid was a 4th grader by the name of Trey Jones. That night 7 years ago serves as an apt metaphor for Trey's career to date. The attention always seems to be on his older brother, but when given his chance to shine, Trey has done just that. TYU's won Mr. Basketball in the state as a senior, but Trey was on the varsity roster as an 8th grader that year, just like TYU's. When TYU's was in the process of winning the national title at Duke and taking home the Mob Trophy, the one that earned him a parade, Trey was busy winning the first of 2 state titles for the Eagles. The second one came this past spring, when, for seemingly the first time in his life, all the focus was on him. TYU's Jones Andy Lyons Getty Images. Prior to last season, Trey wasn't even the most famous player on either his Apple Valley High School team or the loaded Howard Pulley EYBL team both brothers played for. Gary Trent Jr., a top 10 player in the class of 2017 and a Duke commit himself, was. But Trent transferred to Prolific Prep in California for his senior season, leaving Trey as the face of both teams. He more than lived up to the hype, leading Apple Valley to the 3rd state title in 5 years, and his 2nd state title, besting TYU's before leading Pulley to an impressive EYBL season and a spot in the Elite 8 at Peach Jam, the preeminent summer event on the AAU circuit. In the process, Trey staked his claim to the title of best point guard in the class of 2018, rocketing up recruiting rankings. Last fall, he was generally thought of as a top 50 talent. He's currently the 9th-ranked player and the top point guard in 247's composite recruiting rankings. TYU's set the bar, and Trey came along. Everyone said Trey is playing in TYU's shadow, Debbie said. When you follow somebody, and your brother had that kind of success, people expect that stuff early. I think Trey maybe developed the accolades a little later. That wasn't always easy on Trey. Early on in his high school career, maybe his freshman year and even sophomore year, it was tougher for him, trying to pave his own way and kind of do his own thing and earn his own stripes, TYU's said. The older HES got in, the less pressure HES felt as the success has come. The irony of it all is that the cause of all this outside pressure on Trey, the success TYU's has had, his local celebrity, the enormity of the footsteps Trey is trying to follow in, provided the youngest Jones with the perfect blueprint on how to handle it. TYU's was the most famous basketball player in the Twin Cities at 14 years old, and he lived up to the hype. If anyone knows how to handle pressure, it's him. It's something we talk about quite a bit, JD said. Doing everything you can control to maximize the opportunities you have and being the best player and person that you can be is more important than outdoing someone else. Trey, he puts a lot of pressure on himself, but I think he more gets wrapped up in the process of what HES doing day to day instead of check marks for what HES doing compared to TYU's. He has had some success and he grew into it, yes, but the foundation of the mentality was there. TYU's handled an immense amount of pressure as well, because when he was in 8th grade everyone in the state of Minnesota recognized him and wanted to watch him play. Everything was a circus, and you could never tell by the way TYU's acted that was the case. I saw him have one bad game in 5 years of high school. The pressure never bothered him. Trey Jones, John Lopez Nikki TYU's quickly learned the value of putting in the work. It dates back to a fall league game before his sophomore season, when he went up to dunk on an opponent. He missed the dunk off the back of the rim, but the difference was clear. After a full spring and summer of going through JD's workouts, the improvement was right there in front of him. The results were tangible and addicting, and Trey saw it all. He was in 5th grade, doing the same things that TYU's was doing, watching his idol throw himself headfirst into a dream, using the day-to-day grind to block out that external noise. They would be getting up before school to work out, or they would be going to all days, and that's when I didn't need someone else to push me, Trey said. Someone else can only push you so far. Once I saw TYU's go through it all, and especially when his hard work started to pay off, that's when I took it upon myself. Some believe Trey has a higher ceiling than TYU's simply because HE's a better athlete. HE's longer, HE's springier, HE's a better defender. At this point, TYU's is still a better shooter than Trey, but what has always set TYU's apart from other point guards is the way he sees the game. HE's a general, JD, who knows his brother's games better than anyone, says. He can see what's happening and initiate actions to manipulate what he sees. He does that on a level that you don't see the impact that he has, because HE's moving the ball at himself at a certain time to a certain spot. Trey goes at being a point guard with a lot of fire. With his feet, the things you can see, the hustle plays, the defense, the rebounding, taking charges, scoring in transition. The play matches the personalities. TYU's can be quiet and pensive. Trey is a busybody that wears his emotions on his sleeve, and part of the change in Trey's perception had to do with how well both Apple Valley and Pulley did despite losing Trent. Maybe Trey has more of TYU's natural point guard ability in him than people realized. Which means that maybe, one day, TYU's will be known as Trey's older brother, via Trey Jones 03. The question in recruiting circles now is whether or not Trey is a lock to follow in TYU's footsteps in college. Is he going to Duke? Many believe he is, but according to every member of the Jones family that NBC Sports spoke to, that decision will be left to Trey. He wants to be recruited. He wants to develop a relationship with different coaching staffs. He wants to make sure that he is making the right decision on where to go to school. As it stands, Duke is one of 5 schools left on his list, along with UCLA, USC, Minnesota and Ohio State. The Buckeyes weren't previously in the mix, but due to Trey's relationship with Chris Holtmann and his staff when Holtmann was at Butler, HE's now considering the school. The coach was always on his list. TYU's is behind me. Any decision I make, what I feel is best for me, Trey said. He went to Duke, but at the same time HE's been through all this. He knows whatever the best fit for me is the best fit for me. HE's going to support me 100%. We already got a lot of Duke gear, JD said, chuckling, but when all the cards are out there, if he feels like there's another spot that's better for him, well, support that. That's how the family rolls. When it comes to basketball, they always support each other. Blood is thicker than college. No questions asked. The traveling party that made it down to North Augusta for Peach Jam was nearly 10 deep, including JD, TYU's and Grandma. The closer the games are to home, the bigger the Jones section in the stands gets, whether it's a high school game, a prom or a YMCA game for one of JD's 3 sons. My oldest is going to start his 4-year-old YMCA basketball league stuff this winter, and we'll probably have 8 to 9 people there, he said. First and last out of the gym. The only real sibling rivalry that TYU's and Trey care about, who ends up being the cool uncle. It's me, Trey said. We both have a lot of fun with our nephews, but of course I'm going to say me.